Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you a card that I saw Jennifer McGuire do. Now this card, she called it a display frame card, that's what I'm going to call it. And it's I've done mine similar to hers, but not quite the same. So you start with the card like this, and then when you open it up, inside you get this lovely like frame. And obviously you could do whatever you wanted to. You can make a bigger aperture. She actually had it so that she had struts down the sides, clouds, and I have done one like that, but I haven't got it here to show you because I'm not going to do that particular way of doing it today. I'm going to do it like this today, so it's more enclosed, but there's all sorts you could do with this. But it's just a really nice card. I really like it. And obviously I've used the Paper Boutique Blooming Beautiful papers again. You guys are going to get sick of seeing these, you really are. I just love them, and because I haven't had anything new to play with, this is just like, it's just amazing. So yeah, so that's what I've used. These were some butterflies I just had in my stash, just little flat ones. I wanted something flat. I wanted it to be a flat card so I could still post it. So yeah, so anyway, so let's get into it. So for this card, you are going to need a 5x7 card blank. If you haven't got a 5x7 card blank, then you can use a 7x10 piece of card, and then all you need to do is you just need to score the whole thing at 1.5 inches and then at 5 inches, and that's along obviously the long edge. Okay, so then fold it in half, and then that's a mounting fold, so you end up with that. So it's going to go this way round. Okay, and then you also then need 3 matte pieces. So these are my mats here, I've laid them up already, kind of thing. 3 mats that are 3.25 by 6 3/4. You need to make sure these mats are quite thin. You don't want to go too thick. So I've gone really thin. This is about a 140 GSM, maybe a 120. It's not very much. The pattern paper I think is a 180, I think. And so you need, as I said, 3 of those, and then 3 pattern pieces that are 3 inches by 6.5. Okay, so that's your main pieces. So we're going to go ahead now and stick these on, and then I'll come to the other bits in a moment. So we're going to stick these on to the front. I'm going to stick them onto the front here and inside here. The other piece will go here, but we're not going to do that yet until we've added the extra piece on. So I'm just going to go ahead now quickly and just stick these down. Okay, so once you've stuck that down, you should end up with a card. Now, this isn't stuck down, by the way. This is just I've just placed it. I stuck the pattern onto the mat, but I haven't actually gone and stuck it down yet. So there's your front of your card. I've stuck that on there, and then on the exact reverse, that's where I've stuck the other piece. So now I'm just going to turn this over. So on this front piece here, you're going to need a piece here. Now this one, you need a mat that is 1.25 inch by 6 3/4, and a pattern piece that's 1 inch by 6.5. So I'm going to go ahead, stick that onto the mat, and then stick the whole thing on the front. Okay, so we've done that piece there. So now all we're going to need to do is the bit that opens up, that makes the kind of aperture-y bit. This bit here. Oh, to daisy. This bit, we need to deal with this bit here. So what we're going to do is you need a piece that is 5.5 by 7 inches. Now I'm using this card, which is actually from oh goodness me, a very old paper pad that I think we got from the range, I think it was. I'm actually going to use the pattern side because I feel like it needs a bit of pattern of something. This one I had the spots on, which it helped not to be quite so plain. If you wanted to, you could have just a normal layer like the white and then layer it up and cut out your apertures, but I just really didn't want to have too much bulk here. So that's why I've gone for a pattern one. So what we're going to do is we're going to score this now. So we're going to turn it onto the short edge. Now if you've got a right way up, which I sort of have, so this is kind of the top and that's the bottom, so I'm going to turn it around this way around. I want to score the top of it at 1/2 inch, and then you want to score at 4 inches. So you're scoring at 1/2 inch and at 4 inches. The 1/2 inch will be at the top, the 4 inches will be at the bottom. Okay, so if it's that way round. So if you have a right way up, just so you know, that's how it needs to be. What you're going to do now is just going to mountain fold your score lines. And now you might find that you just want to, on the biggest section here, you might want to just literally take a slither off, and I do mean a slither, not even an eighth, like literally a slither. So I'm just going to do that now. So there's my slither. As you can see, it really is a slither that I've taken off. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to be cutting our aperture out. So I'm actually going to use a circle this time around. I used an oval on the last one. I do think it looks a little bit like a tissue box. And I can't get over the tissue box, look. So I'm not going to do that this time around. I'm going to use a circle. Okay, so I've got a circle die. So I'm just going to lay this on top of my pattern card. If you want to make sure you got it exactly bang in the centre, then you can measure it. But I'm just going to eyeball that, and that looks about right to me. So now I'm going to go ahead now and die cut that out. Okay, so I've die cut that central bit out. So obviously if you wanted to, you could put a border around it. I kind of feel like it needs a border, but not entirely sure if I want to put a border or not. Okay, so what I'm going to do on the back through the apertures, I've just taken one of the greetings, the sending you birthday wishes, and I've just backed it onto a little matte card that fits. And I'm just going to stick it straight on to the back. Obviously just make sure that it's nice and central left and right, so it's going to work out fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stick it flat on. I was thinking about popping it up a little bit, and I could do that, not with pads, but just with like a little box, like a little if you just got a strip of card and just folded it like 1/2 inch, or half inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, all the way around. You could pop it up like a little pop-up thing. But I decided I'm just going to stick this flat. I think it might just work out a little bit easier. So I'm just going to place this over the top. Because I've used wet glue, I can just scoot it into position. So that's that, like that. I love these papers so much. Anyway, sorry. Right. So we're going to put the card blank to one side. And so the piece we've just folded, scored and done the aperture in. What we need to do now is we're going to need to put some red tape along this top tab, and you're putting it on that right side. So we're going to put it on here, all the way across, like that. And you also want to put some on the bottom, but actually I'm going to use wet glue on the bottom. Oh no, you can use either. I'm going to use red tape because it'll stick quicker. You can use either. You can use red tape or you can use wet glue. If I was doing this by myself at home and wasn't filming it, then I would probably use wet glue, just because I find it easier to kind of maneuver it into position. But actually for this second piece, it's not too bad. So I'm just going to put 2 pieces on. I don't really need a third piece in the middle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring back the card blank, and what we're going to do is this piece here needs to stick to this bit here, and the cut edge needs to line up with that score line. Okay, so I'm just going to peel back a little bit of this. I'm not going to peel back all of it. Peel back a little bit like this. I'm going to lay it down like this. I'm going to start at the bottom because that bit isn't sticky because I haven't peeled the backing off there. I'm going to make sure this is nice and straight. So that's there like that. It lines up with the fold line. So I'm just going to stick that down and then peel the backing off very carefully. So this is the bit that you'd get on better if you use wet glue because you've got a bit of wiggle room. So then what happens is when that folds along that crease line, you see, and it's stuck. So from the front, you can't see any pink, but obviously when you open it up, you also then can't see any white. So that's what you want. So then what you want to do is fold that flat. So this is kind of, so if you look, that's the front, this is the inside. And so this is why you trimmed a tiny bit off, because now when you close that, that closes fine without kind of bubbling, like, you know, bulging. If it is bulging a little bit, just trim a bit more off. Mine's pretty much there. And then what we're going to do is just take off the backing off of both pieces and then just shut the card onto it. Okay, and then when you open it up, there's your card. So there's your, you can see through the middle into the other side, and obviously from the front that's what it looks like, and you open it up and there it is. So now we've done that, we can go ahead and stick this piece on here. So I was going to stick I've already stuck the pattern onto the mat, so this will go in here like this, and then I've got, because obviously you can just write on there, but I just thought because it's going to be displayed on your desk like that, and I don't know about you, but I don't really want my writing to the person to be seen by everybody, because normally on a card you see the front of the card when it's on the mantelpiece and the inside bit is kind of inside. So I've got a little, you know, my little classic foldy up cardy thing that we used on the pop-up box. I'm going to do the same technique on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this down for starters, and then I'll explain what I mean in a minute, because some of you might be like, what is she talking about? It's a sunny day outside and I'm just happy that it's nice and sunny and it's been nice and warm. So my brain's gone had a bit of a difficult few days. My brain's a bit frazzled. So if I start talking rubbish, you'll just have to bear with me. Okay, so there we go. So we've stuck that down. So now what we're going to do is, in this pack, I've found this, which I really like. And this measures 6 inches by, I think it was 2 3/4. So what I've done is I've cut out another piece of card that is 6 inches wide by 5 1/2, and I've scored it in the middle at 2 3/4. So I've literally made like a card blank. I'm going to stick that on the front there, and then when I fold this over, that can stick in there like that, and then you've got a little card. You've got a little hinged bit, so you can actually, you know, put your message in there. Now it does stand up a little bit, which is a bit annoying, but if you give it a really good press down, hopefully it'll learn. And also, if you don't use too thick a card for this, so that's only going to stand up like that much, which is fine. It's not going to stand up that much, so that's not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick this pattern piece onto the front of there, and then I'm going to stick the whole lot onto there. Okay, so I've stuck that down. So there's my little card. I'm going to be careful because it is still wet. It's still drying. I would probably go for a thinner piece, thinner card than I've used there, because that's quite a big wodge there, I've realised. So when this shuts, you might, yeah, it's not too bad, but it's a bit more chunky than I would want it to be. So I think I need something around the outside of this. So I'm going to sort that out in a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to do the front. So on the front, I've just found this, I like this, quite nice, so that's going to go on there. It could probably do with having a some of that burgundy mat around the outside of it, so I might cut out a very thin burgundy frame for it, not a frame, a mat, a thin burgundy mat to go on the back of it, and then we're going to have a sending love on your special day. Because the other thing as well is, because that's quite big, when you open this up, you will be able to see this on the other side. So if that's a burgundy colour, or if that's it won't be, it'll be white. Yeah, so I might actually use a different colour for that. I don't know, what to see anyway, but you're going to see that. Okay, so if you want to, you can just choose a different one. See, with this one it wasn't so bad, because this is double-sided. It didn't matter that I could see the green on the other side. So just work out what you want to do. It might be you just want to have it up here and not have anything here, or you might want to put, you know, have a smaller greeting and put that down there, so when you open it up you don't have anything protruding above there. So I'm going to have a quick look through and see if I can find something different. I did like this, but I'm now thinking, because of the mat, because the mat I've got is actually single-sided, so I'm just going to have a quick look through and I shall be back with you in a moment. So I've decided I am going to go ahead with the one I've already got, and what I've done is I've actually cut this down slightly. So this is 4x4, so what I did was I cut this 4x4, and then I've cut 1/8 of an inch off all 4 sides, and I'm going to stick that on there, so then we've got a nice backing for it. And then I've just cut another piece, which is 2 inches by 4 inches, and I'm just going to stick that on the other side, the bottom portion of this. So then when you open it up, you will see burgundy. So I'm going to stick this down now, and then you will see what I mean. Okay, so I've stuck the topper down, so I'm just going to turn this over. So this is my bottom section, and I'm now going to stick this onto the bottom of there, and I'm going to hope that it's not going to poke out the sides. I don't think it will, but we will soon find out. It also helps to strengthen it because I have used very thin mat, so it will help to strengthen what is very flimsy paper. Okay, so there we go. Turn that back over. That's fine, I don't have a problem with that. I've got a tiny slither of white there, but it doesn't really bother me, to be honest with you. So what we're going to do now then, that is going to go onto there like that. And I am going to stick it down with, on the other one I did use pads. I think on this one I might stick that flat and then just use this on pads. So I'm just going to bring this back a little bit, about there I think. So I'm just going to flip this over now. And so I think I need glue up to about here. Just going to make a mark on here. It's going to be about there, because that's going to be, in fact, if I just lay this in place where it needs to be, like that, then I can see where I need to glue. So there's a little tip for you. If you're trying to work out where to put something, if you just lay it face down where you need it to be stuck, and then you can then see where your line is that you don't want to go past to stick. Okay, so let's take this, turn this over, and we're going to stick this down onto the front like that. There we go. And then if you open it up, you will see there's no glue on that side, and that is the main aim. So we're now going to go ahead, add some pads, and we're just going to stick that onto there. Okay, so that's the front done. So I'll probably just add a few little blingy bits at some point, something to make it sparkle, a few sparkly bits. But yeah, so when you open it up, as you can see the burgundy. That doesn't offend me. If you wanted to, you could even stamp a greeting on there if you wanted to, which would look quite cool actually, or have some kind of feature there. That would be nice. And then the only other thing I'm going to do at some point is I'm just going to add something around the edge here. I might cut another bit of pattern paper out. I might cut some burgundy out and do a burgundy matte frame, which I think would probably work the best, to be honest. So yeah, so that's all you need to do. You can do all sorts of things on this bit here. You could have a dangly bit, something dangling down. You could do the acetate, which is what I did on this one. Have an acetate strip, which obviously you'd have to add first before you stuck the card down with your greeting on it. You could do all sorts with whatever you normally do with an aperture. That's what you could do with this. Okay, so you literally could go with anything. You could have scenery in the back. In fact, you can make this, you could cut this out as a rectangle and have it as a proper frame, proper frame going around, and have like a whole scene inside. You could do what Jennifer McGuire did on hers. She had like little cloud pieces in. So check out her video. If you just type in display frame card Jennifer McGuire, I'm sure it'll come up on YouTube. But she had some wonderful ideas. So yeah, all sorts you can do. And then obviously this is the bit where you can write and stamp happy birthday or whatever in there. But yeah, it's just quite a nice card, and it folds relatively flat for posting. If you can't do 5x7, I don't know if you're, in certain countries the mail changes, so you might be able to do, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what the US and the Australia sizes are, but say for example you need to do a 6x6 or a 5x5, you could do exactly the same, but just take off, make it fit with the size you've got. So if you've got a 6x6, you could keep the 1.5 inch amount here. If you go a lot smaller, if you go 4x4, you might want to only do 1 inch, for example, and then you're left with 3 inches at the top. It's really up to you, but you can literally size it up or size it down depending on how you want to. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I really like this card. I think it's really nice. It's just really nice, and it sits on your desk really nicely. It does sit up. If you just push it back a little bit, it sits up really nicely on your desk. And they just look really nice, a bit of a conversation starter. So I hope you have a go. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!